How many questions do you ask, or do you just listen and believe? Great question. One of the things I got in trouble for a lot at school was asking lots of questions. And I'm wondering what's happened to the human race. It seems that if a social media guru tells us, or if the news tells us, or if somebody on the radio says, if a government official says, we seem to believe it. And it might be true. The social media guru might have every fact under the sun, and the government person might be telling you the truth, and the radio person might have all the facts that we need to do whatever we want to do. But how do we know if we don't ask questions? And we live in a world where if we don't ask questions, is it possible that we won't get both sides of the story? It seems that there's one side of the story most of the time. And whether it's politics or religion or the climate or recycling or health and fitness or exercise, there seems to be two sides to every story. But if you don't ask the question, so if somebody's telling you one side, do you always ask the other side? So the two questions that I got into trouble at school for, and I'm very proud to keep getting into trouble for them, is why would I do that and how does it work? So whatever you're telling me, please explain to me in more specific detail, why would I do that, or why should I believe that, and how does it actually work? Do we have the right to ask questions? And I use the example, if you go to a medical professional, a doctor, and they give you a diagnosis, could it be a really good idea to get a second opinion? Because you could believe that person. But what about ask some questions? Why did I get this? How can I get rid of it? This medication you're giving me, does it have side effects? Do I have to take other drugs to counteract those side effects? Do I have to take drugs at all? Could I do something else? See, they're all questions. And if somebody can't answer your question, I'll share that quote again. Is it better that a question goes unanswered rather than the answer goes unquestioned? Because if you ask somebody a question, they'll always give you an answer. There's no doubt about that. It's like an ego thing, it seems, yeah? If you are, and you could just Google it. Please tell me what to eat for breakfast. Please tell me how much exercise I should do. Please tell me how to be financially free. Please tell me how to be a great parent. If you Google that, you'll get a stack of ideas, stack of opinions, and stack of people telling you. But is it possible that all we're going to get is their opinion, and their opinion might be right, it might be the truth, it might be the facts, but could it be a better idea to question the answer? So whatever answer you get from whoever it is, and this is where there's a fine line between being respectful and having the right to ask questions. I get that. And one of the reasons I used to get into trouble at school is that I believed I had the right to ask questions, and I think that we all do. But I probably asked them disrespectfully because I didn't know the answer, or I didn't trust the person that was giving me the information, or sometimes because the information just didn't make any sense. My questions were probably delivered in a disrespectful way. So that's why I'm asking, yes, please. Whatever somebody tells you, could it be a really good idea to question the answer? I'll use another example. I'm often involved with medical professionals, and there'll be two medical professionals, or 10 or 50, with the same education. So they have a doctorate of, it might be endocrinology, psychology, oncology, there's lots of ologies, and they're professors of, let's say they're professors of psychology. And if you listen to their advice, if you listen to their opinions, often you'll have two people with the same education delivering completely opposing views. Now, don't we have the right now to ask a question? So this doctor says this doctor says this, which one is right? And whatever question I ask and whatever answer they give me, should I be able to get an answer to my question? And would it be better, and I'd love to hear this, we never hear this, I wish people would say this, I don't know the answer. Wouldn't it be nice if a doctor or a politician or a religious person or an expert in whatever area, if they didn't know the answer, they actually said that, look, I don't know the answer, which is that great quote again. Better for a question to go unanswered than the answer to go unquestioned. Because often people will give you an answer, particularly on social media, you'll get stacks of answers, but it doesn't mean it's the right answer, and it may definitely, or it could definitely not be the right answer for you. The reason I'm so passionate about this is because I've been asking questions all of my life, and I feel I have the right to ask questions, and you certainly do too. And what's been so interesting is the opposing views from different people. Even though I ask the same question, I get such different answers. And now I feel I have the right to keep asking questions about those answers, which is why those two questions, why would I do that and how does it work, really, to me, are the ultimate communication skill to get information, but the ultimate communication for my brain. I'm asking my own brain, why would I do that and how does it work? How will this affect my life? How will this affect my health? How will this affect my future? How will this affect the other people in my life? And I think we have the right to ask those questions. So here is a really personal question. Everything that you believe to be true, everything that somebody else has told you is true, should we or could we ask more questions? Should we teach our kids to ask more questions? See, at school I was always shut down. If I asked a question, it was more like, get to the office, you naughty girl, rather than, what a great question, Rowie. Let's brainstorm that, let's chat about that together, and let's work out which one of those views is right or wrong. Imagine in a world now where, because there's a lot of opinions, and a lot of opinions that are directed in the same direction. If you don't believe this, you must be a conspiracy theorist, or if you don't believe this, you must be an anti-something, or if you don't believe this, you must be a bad person. But what if every time somebody delivered information, and you ask a question about that information, the response was, what a great question, let's brainstorm the answer and find out what's going to work out best for you, rather than you just have to believe this. And is it possible that if you're delivering information in that format, so if you are a preacher, a teacher, a coach, a parent, an exercise professional, a results coach, and you're telling people what to do, so you're giving information, giving an opinion, first of all, do people have the right to ask questions about your opinion? Of course. And rather than, and this is an interesting thing to take note of, often if you question people who give you information, they get very defensive. Have you noticed? They start defending their opinion, they defend their point of view. So I want to be the opposite person. I don't want to defend my point of view. I want to learn more. So I always use that response. If somebody asks me a question, I always answer with, what a great question. Why did you ask me that question? And let's brainstorm the answer together, rather than, I'm right, I'm a bloody legend because I know everything. And that's what it comes across as, doesn't it? If you're arrogant enough to say my opinion's the only one and everything that I say is right and everything I believe is right and you can't argue with me, could that come across as being a little bit arrogant? I can't change what adults do. I don't think that you can either. Everyone gets to do whatever they want to do, including be arrogant, be opinionated, tell people what to do. Adults have the right to do that. But I don't want our kids to grow up in a world where they're just told something and they believe it. Because is it possible that sometimes our kids get told stuff that isn't true? Or would it be better if they came up with that truth by themselves, with their own ability to think for themselves, think with an open mind? There's a great question. Do you have an open mind, or are you closed off? Which closed off comes like this: I know that already, or I'm right. Even if you are right, could you be more right? Could you learn more about that particular topic or that subject? And surely that comes from asking questions, not from talking and telling. And I always share that passionately. If I'm talking, there's just gas coming out my mouth. If I'm asking questions and I listen carefully to the answers, is it possible that even if I know everything about that topic, which how on earth is that possible? Is it possible that I could learn more about how to explain it? I could learn it more in depth. I could learn more specifically about that particular topic in a specific area. And again, I'm asking very personally. I don't want our kids to just believe everything that they're told, because there are people, or is it possible that there are people in their life that will tell them stuff that will not be good for their life? And I want to give you a very personal example. If a child is told, if we are told, you can't do that, it's not possible for you, it won't work for you. If a child is taught to believe what they're told, then they will probably believe that, particularly if it comes from a person that they trust or they respect. But here's a great question. Do I have the right to tell another human being, particularly a future adult, you can't do that, it's not possible? I would like every child to question that information. Why can't I do it? Everybody else has done it, or it is possible for other people, or even if it is impossible, Are there people who have achieved the impossible? I'd love our kids to ask those kind of questions rather than, I was told by my school teacher that I can't be a doctor because I'm too dumb and I'm going to believe that. Or I can't be a sports person because I don't have enough skill and talent, so I'm going to believe that. Well, are there people who have been told they're stupid and still take on intelligent roles? Are there people who are told they're not skilled or talented and they still become skilled and talented and get really good at something? And of course the answer is yes. If they had believed the person that said, you can't, it won't work, it can't happen for you, and hadn't questioned that, then it's possible that their life could be completely different for the negative rather than the positive. And here's a great question, because I'm gonna share that quote again. Better for a question to go unanswered than an answer to go unquestioned. So if I ask the question, can I be the 4 things that Romax is all about? Can I be healthy, fit and strong? Can I have a career or business that I love? Can I be financially free? And can I have great relationships? Now they're all questions. Better for those questions to go unanswered, and of course the answer is yes, but let's say that we say no, there's no answer to that. Better for those questions to go unanswered than for me to say, no, you can't do that. You definitely can't be healthy, fit and strong. You haven't been your whole life. You can't have a career or business that you love because you're too dumb, too tall, too short, too fat, too skinny. You don't have enough education. You don't have enough money. No, you can't be financially free because nobody else in your family is. And no, you can't have great relationships because all people are horrible. See, if you're told that and you believe it and you don't question it, could you get yourself into a life that's not living your life to the max? Is it possible that if we ask more questions and we demand it, and when I say respectfully demand, but if I ask somebody a question who's delivered information to me, should they be able to give me an answer? And I think that the answer is yes. Again, better for that question to go unanswered than for somebody to give me the answer and I don't question the answer. Because I'm very nervous for our kids because there's so much information being delivered. And it doesn't matter how thin you slice it, there's always 2 sides. And that's not just some airy-fairy quote. Even if you believe this side, and I was brought up to believe in God, but I want to question that so that I'm not just blindly following like a sheep. I want to be the person that says, okay, let's brainstorm that particular topic, which is very controversial, I get it. You should eat this. Well, if you've been brought up a vegan vegetarian and you never want to eat meat, that's awesome and that's a choice. But could it be a really good idea to not even eat meat, but to explore the fact that there might be other people that love to eat meat who have a different opinion to me rather than me try and force my opinion on them? There's 2 or 3 or 5, 20 different ways to vote. I might have been taught to vote a certain way, but should I be asking, why do I vote that way? Am I just voting that way because my parents vote that way or I was taught to vote that way at school? Could it be a really good idea before you go and vote? If you live in a democracy like I do, and I'm very thankful for that, because literally millions of people have died for my right to vote. So when I go to vote, I take that opportunity to make that to put input into my community, into my country. I take that very seriously. And I don't want to go in there and just vote because I've always voted this way. I want to learn the policies of all the parties. I want to find out what they've all got to offer so that I don't just listen to one politician telling me what to do, believe them, and then don't question what they've told me. Better for a question to go unanswered than the answer to go unquestioned. So like me, may you be a little bit rebellious. I was suspended from school quite a few times for asking questions, but I also believe it's the reason why I love my life. I'm a critical thinker. I can think for myself. I'm open to learning, and I will not follow blindly because I always ask questions. How about you? Super duper doo, how are you? I hope you ask lots of questions. Woohoo! Lots and lots and lots of them. Woohoo!